start off by giving a little bit of history about the school. So we're an academy, Key Stage 2 academy, with a junior school. We were a 4-form entry. We have reduced in size with our pupil numbers to a 2-form entry. We've been working with Levitt for a number of years, and they've supported us really well, in particular with the change and to move across to Google. We had our system was a bit of a mess in the past, with people using various bits of software, people saving bits of work, and they're in various places. I think one godsend going across to Google was just the collaboration that we've been able to use across the school with staff CPD, and also just giving the confidence back to the staff, confidence into the children as well. So it's been it has been a bit of a long process to get where we are. We took it slowly. We had a number of staff who were less confident with RCT and the use of RCT, and there were the staff who were very confident and just flew with it. So and like any school, I think it's the same. So you've got a variety of confidence levels of staff. I think when we moved across to Google and worked with you guys with that, I think it improved the confidence, and because staff they had to use it, I think, and we had everything saved on our drives in the school, and we had to make a decision of when we had to move that. So that was a process. Some staff found that easy, some found it more difficult, but I think because staff had been using it on a regular basis, it actually genuinely went quite smoothly, and obviously with your support there, your training there with our staff and how to use it and to move various bits and pieces across to Google. So on the Key Stage 2 site, everything has been moved across to Google. We work from Google, and I think moving forward now with GCPW and how we've moved from just using Google and now linking the two with Microsoft. We had lots and lots of different passwords, and this has just really just brought it all into a single place, or just a single, almost like a single sign-on. I see it as for staff to get onto into the systems. I think once again it's helped staff as they now are able to access the work from wherever they are, and I'll talk a little bit more about it as we've amalgamated with the Key Stage 1. So if you're moving across buildings as well, it's supported. It has supported that as well, because you're taking your, I'm not sure the jargon for it, you almost feels like you're taking your workstation with you wherever you go, and I think that's been a huge support in making sure that just helping with staff being less stressed, because they know that when they open up their computer, they're going to have what they're used to and what they've got on another device, maybe in another room or elsewhere in the building. Over lockdown, I think this is also maybe with the lockdown, it has helped us to move maybe more quickly to where to using GCPW, and so that it's been able to allow staff to use any device anywhere and access it wherever they need to, and that is the same at home. So when we're having to do remote learning, online learning as well, it's simplified that as well for the staff, because many staff had over the past had been using Microsoft, and they were confident with Microsoft, and we've still got staff who prefer Microsoft. but it's now linking the two together, and it's because they are confident in that using that particular area, but it's still linking the school, and they're not almost having to double up on their work, because we found some staff might be, because they're confident, and this is particular teachers, they might be creating PowerPoints or creating documents in Microsoft, and then having to transfer it across to Google. Was now it seems to be done all in one place, and quite smoothly as well. So, and I think moving forward now, although it's quite established now on the Key Stage 2 site, and now with the amalgamation, it's bringing it across to the Key Stage 1 site. And although it's the move on the Key Stage 2 as well has been quite smooth, I would say we've had a few issues, and I think with anything new and anything that you introduce, there are going to be some small issues or maybe some bumps along the way. And I think one of those bumps was with printers. And setting up printers. I don't know all the ins and outs of the technical side of why the printers weren't working, but I think we seem to be moving in the right direction, and that issue has been resolved, and it seems to be working at the moment. So which is a positive. And I think this is probably going to be a challenge for many schools. If your PCs are outdated or a little bit older than what they should be, and I think with finances in many schools and budgets, we might not have the capacity to upgrade the RCT equipment across the school, and that might be an issue. I think it seemed an issue with us with having to rebuild computers to ensure that they are at a certain spec. I think I've been the lucky one. I've had the least, and maybe just because of the computer, I've been lucky. But I don't think I had a computer that was newer than most of the staff. Because I work on a Windows machine, and there hasn't. You don't really. As a head teacher, when I've logged on and I log on the same, it doesn't make my life any more complicated. In fact, it's made it easier, because it's just logging in with the same login details when I log on to the computer as when I go into Google, and it all seems to be there. All what I need is in the right places. I've used Google as I've been involved with the school for a number of years, and so I'm quite confident with it, and I very seldom use Microsoft anymore, because I just think Google is much easier to use. It's I have everything in one place, and I've mentioned it before. I think that collaboration and it is a fantastic tool for us as a school. So, but yeah, I think I've been very pleased with the process and how me using it in the school. The children often teach the teachers on how to do things. In a lot of the cases, I think children use Google all the time. It's just and their IT skills are way above so many of our staff, and that can be maybe a bit intimidating for some staff who are less confident. But I think them using Google, they use it in their homes all the time. All their families probably have Gmail accounts. They have their own personal Gmail accounts probably as well, and they're using it out of school. Definitely has enhanced the children's learning. The Google Classroom, a lot of so we had to adapt our teaching during lockdown, like many other schools had to adapt their teaching, and we've felt that we didn't want to lose a lot of what we've had to that training, that support that we gave to staff. So it's actually very much part of the children's learning now. So we use Google Classroom in lessons, in many lessons. We might have a teacher who's less confident, for example, in teaching of RCT. One of the teachers who maybe confident has recorded parts of the lesson and to explain various aspects, maybe be on coding or whatever, and so that is then used. Those videos are used to support the teachers and the children in the lessons, and I think that has definitely increased the maybe the understanding and the quality of our education across the school. And we talk about Ofsted, and we're going to have Ofsted coming in, and that's and how they inspect the schools has changed over the years, and I think this supports that gives the teachers the confidence, because that we're using expertise of each other through Google Classroom to support the children's learning, and the children love it. They're forever wanting to take out the Chromebooks and do things on the Chromebooks. So it's very much part of the children's learning. I found with the traditional RCT suite, the children were losing a lot of time, learning time, because of the logging in and that process that takes going down to the RCT. It's time, and it's time that the children, learning time that the children are losing. Whereas with the Chromebooks, we have a bank of Chromebooks available to year groups. We don't have individual classes, but to year groups, and so the children are accessing them in the classes. And when the children are using their Chromebooks, it's almost instant. So there's less learning lost in each of the lessons. The children are able to get into wherever they need to get in quickly, and I think that's a key part of Chromebooks. Once again, as well as I've mentioned, around collaboration, and we do use it a great deal in our school, and even the children being able to collaborate together and working on single documents and give their input. I still feel we need to do a little bit more and with the learning, and maybe more interaction in the lesson with the interactive whiteboard, so that I don't think we've hit that quite yet with maybe sharing work on the front screen, so then the children and the teachers can discuss and look at various pieces of work that are happening around the classroom. So that's something we plan to work on. So yeah, and the teachers now all have on the Key Stage 2 side, they all have Chromebooks, and those seem to be working well. And I think the key with Chromebooks is just the speed that you can access your work and get onto the system without wasting time. Waste anybody's time by having to sit in front of a computer waiting for it to load up, and that I think we need to get into where we need to be, so our learning can take place. Yeah, and I think I alluded to this at the beginning. We've got some staff who are more confident than others, and that was great. And so, through our training, you would do in your classroom, we have scaffolded our training for our staff. So those who are more confident, they've been able to move on in using aspects of Google and in their teaching, and then those who who are less confident, we've worked with them and supported them so that they can be putting in what we expect them to put in, and being able to do that confidently, because we don't want them to go into a classroom and feel less confident than the children. So that's definitely given them the training has definitely given them that confidence to move forward the use of Google and how they use it in their teaching and the learning. We've used it very much with stuff. I think from there as well, it's given the teachers the confidence to bring it into their CPD. So we use Google in our CPD to share documents and collaborate like that. So yeah, I think Levitt, you guys have really supported us with that, ensuring that we've been able to move on and move our teachers on. And whenever we've had new staff to come in, we've always had that initial training at the start of the year to support any new teachers who aren't haven't used Google, or maybe even who have, but just given them those tools to support them in the teaching. So staff CPD and training is in a very important part. Otherwise, you're going to lose the confidence on the staff, and then they won't be doing, won't be using they wouldn't use Google in their learning and in the teaching as well. So. It's very simple. I think and I think and I think that's so important. If you have a complicated system, it makes it challenging for us as a school. But for myself, if I have to log in any issues, or if I need to if I need some support, it's a simple log on, and I think the response time is very good. I think if I'm correct in saying any support that a school is needed is then directed to the correct person, and that seems to be directed to the correct person very quickly, and the completion time of those the support, I feel, is very, very quick. My ICT manager is someone that is the one that uses that a great deal. As a school, we try and bring it all into the issues are coming from one particular person, because if she's able to deal with it herself, she does. And then if it needs to be escalated to Levitt, then she's the one that does it. And I think the response time of any of those issues is very quick, and I think that's a real positive, because if you've got something that's not working and you need it, it can be very frustrating for staff and for teachers in particular. So I think one positive is the response time that you have to any issues that are flagged.